What's going on, guys? So it has been a rough day today, rough couple of days, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about what's been going on. So I had a big day full of energy yesterday, and I went on this big nature hike, and I went to the gym, and I was feeling good, and then I went to sleep, and then I woke up, and I don't know, today I was just really tired all day, and like the day just slipped away from me. So I've been thinking a lot about what to put in terms of content to share, and part of me is drawn towards trying to give advice and knowledge and information on certain things, but I think it's probably more entertaining if I just share with you what my goals are and share with you my pursuit of those goals, because that's just kind of cool to watch. So let me share my screen with you, show you something. So currently I'm about to go back and study because I never actually finished my secondary studies, most of high school. And I'm aiming for a 97 over here. It's called the 8R in Australia, or above, which I just did this handy US conversion chart, just in case there's anyone from the US watching. So that's a 3.7 GPA or above. So that's pretty high, and it's a little bit intimidating. And recently I've been going through this thing of, because the term starts really soon, and I've lined up a lot of good stuff to get ready for it, but there's still so much uncertainty in my mind because it has been 4 years, almost 5 years, since I actually gave a fuck about school and put my mind to study. So the other thing that happens is when you set a goal is a lot of people in your life want to give their 2 cents and give you their advice on what you should do. And because I want to go into the medical field, it's interesting hearing everyone's different opinions. And often, even when it's people that care about you, it can be like quite negative. And so basically I've been dealing with this thing of, I'm about to start and I'm pretty excited, but in the back of my mind there's a lot of fear. What if I can't do this? What if I fuck everything up? What if I fail? What if it's too much? And I know this probably sounds like the most basic thing ever, but it's really full on for me. And it's when I'm in a good mood, I'm like, yeah, I got this. I know I'm going to crush this. This is awesome. But when I'm in a low mood, even though I haven't even started the study yet, in a low mood, I'm like, fuck, it's never going to happen. I'm going to fail everything. And the other thing is, there's a chance that I might be doing physics. I might switch it out for a different subject. And the thing is, I'm someone that maths doesn't really come naturally to me, like English and humanities and languages and all of that. That's quite easy for me to do in terms of subjects, but maths is really hard. I love science and it really, really interests me. I could talk about science and like medical topics and pharmacology and drugs, etc. all day, but maths and equations and formulas, even just saying those words, I'm like, fuck. So there's a chance I might be doing physics, which is something that really interests me, but I have no idea how I'm going to be able to handle it. So I guess I'm going to film some updates of that as I go along. On to other things. Have you ever had this thing where like it's 6 p.m. and you're exhausted and then you go to sleep, or you almost fall asleep, and then you get up for whatever reason? So basically this is what happened today. Like I had a kind of shit day, went back home, got in bed, and I just lay there. I was still fully clothed and it's winter, so I'm like rugged up and I'm just lying there and I'm like, fuck. And I just fell asleep. And then basically I woke up after a little bit and I was like, okay, I should probably have some dinner and just have a shower and stuff. So I did. And I was exhausted when I was asleep at 6 or 7 p.m. Anyway, now it's 9:24 p.m. and I'm full of energy. And this is something that's super frustrating because it seems that half the time my energy levels are just so unpredictable and never quite where I want them to be. So that's that. I think just from what I'm noticing, I'm definitely in better spirits right now than I have been at other points in time. And yeah, like basically steps of shit that I'm trying to achieve right now are do assignments, study, get this really high GPA/ATAR, get into med school, and go from there. And I think that for me, when I've been dealing with like pretty heavy depression, having good long-term goals makes me feel better. And I don't know if that's necessarily like the most healthy coping mechanism, because often the goals that I set are really, really high, a bit crazy. Sometimes I'm inclined to say a little too high, like, but I can achieve them. I used to really hate running. I did a half marathon not too long ago, and that was one thing I never thought I could do. So I know I can do stuff that I would never normally think that I could do. But the real question is, can I be consistent for a year and a half? Like, I can be consistent for 8 weeks. I know that. 10 weeks, 12 weeks, but fuck. 1 year and a half is a long time for me, because I go through like super, super crazy swings in mood and super big changes in heart. And I feel like my personality is just constantly bouncing between different things. And I think maybe just chat a little bit more about why medical profession and so on is because, like, basically I've experienced working shit jobs for the past 3 or 4 years, and not all shit, but I've experienced working, you know, minimum wage kind of stuff. In Australia, the minimum wage is actually pretty good. But despite that, I've been in environments that are really not stimulating. They're just kind of like average. Just, you're pretty much standing there. You're like a robot. You're processing transactions. You're just, you know, doing a stock intake or this and that, and sort of just going through motions or doing administrative tasks that, you know, if you're someone that has passions and interests like I do, it just feels really brain dead. And so at one point I got this, I call it like the business bug, maybe not the business bug, the entrepreneurial bug, where I decided that I really, really wanted to build a business. And I spent a lot of time trying to do that. And I got this really interesting insight into this world. There is this whole world of like internet entrepreneurs, and it's some really crazy shit, and people get really heavily into it. The thing I learned about being in that world, because first I was a aspiring entrepreneur trying to build my own business, a fitness business, and at one point it actually did kind of well. Never really pulled a profit. I never actually got paid from it, but you know, I did see some success with it. But I realized the people that are making the most money in the entrepreneur world are the business coaches, or the people that promise you money if you give them money, if that makes sense. And I've worked for that kind of, I actually ended up working for a similar thing, and it was really cool. I got a lot of experience. They're actually quite a reputable company. But the thing is, I ended up chasing money. And when I got this business bug, I was so obsessed with making, quote unquote, 6 figures. Like, it's this thing that happens in this weird online marketing entrepreneurial thing. Like, once you start Googling certain terms, it just shows up in all of your social media, all of your Google ad searches, all of your YouTube ads, all of your Facebook ads, and so on. It doesn't do that anymore for me because I've just stopped giving a fuck. And I'll explain why in a second. But pretty much what I've realized about that industry is 98% of people don't make it for shit, and 2% do. Shopify, drop shipping, business coaching, any kind of like laptop lifestyle things, most people just don't succeed at. Even people that like Instagram models and stuff, most of them don't make shit. Even if they got lots and lots of followers, they're still like having to sell their, you know, waist slimmer bands or their isogenic shakes, and they're not really making that much. So after kind of exploring that world for a little bit, while I do think it's possible to succeed in it, the thing that I realized is it's really, really high stress, and I put so much stress and pressure on myself for ages, sprinting, trying to make it work. And basically what happened was I got pretty manic around this time last year with trying to make it work. And I was actually getting some traction, but I took out a bunch of credit cards and got myself in heaps of debt because, and I did that in investing in different business coaching programs. I invested in multiple because I was like, oh, well, if I just invest in multiple, then there's no way I can fuck this up. It was a bit ridiculous. And I'm dealing with those repercussions later. I think it was a good learning thing. But basically what I realized is that I'm going to have to work for the rest of my life to make an income. And I think it's really important to, let's say, do what you love, which is absolutely what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something that I'm interested in. But I'm also interested in job security, but not in a corporate sense. So basically, I'm really put off by the whole people trying to climb over each other to make more money. Like, that whole thing just pisses me off, because I've been there and it's stressful and it's not nice and it's anxiety giving. When I was at the peak of trying to make as much money as I could, I was like so wired. I couldn't sleep properly. I was constantly stressed. All I could think about was work or business or money. And I actually started to develop weird tics. Like, I was doing this thing where I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to bring it back. But this is my head, and I'd do this thing where I would tilt my neck to the side just like this. And I've looked back on videos of myself where I was just doing it. Like, I had no clue that I was doing it. It was just like constant, just fucked up. I had no idea that I was doing it, but chewing the inside of my gums, calluses inside of my lips from the stress. I was probably doing it at night as well. Sweats, night terrors, bad time. So I don't really want to be like a hippie that, okay, this is a bit of black and white, but I don't want to kind of like be driving around just chilling, like, you know, living off next to nothing. Like, some people really like doing that. I do want to make a good living for myself. So basically, when I look at the medical profession, it's a way for me to apply like lots of knowledge, get really good, become an expert in a certain field, get paid well for it, but also have a job that's going to last me a long time, like well into my retirement, which, you know, in Australia and so on, like, it's starting to get to a higher point, like 65, 70. A lot of people are working to 70, and it's like, well, if I'm going to work to 70, I'd like to do something that I can do until that age. And medicine seems like the perfect opportunity for that. As well as, I think, having been through a lot of difficult times myself, I would really like the opportunity and the platform to be able to help other people that are struggling. And like, sometimes, you know, like, I'd like to be able to save lives, like actually save a person's life. I think that would be amazing. I'd like to be there for someone in a time of life or death. I'd like to be that kind of support. But most of all, I'd like to be able to think on my feet and make a really quick decision and, you know, kind of like gather a certain knowledge base. And suddenly in the moment, it's like, holy fuck, I've got this crazy case that doesn't make sense. And I've got to think back to some journal that I read, or, you know, something I can get really passionate about. So that's why I'm chasing this. And that's kind of the journey of what I'm trying to attack. But right now, you know, I mean, fuck, like, I'm just chilling in my bedroom, like, you know, but the shit's real basic right now. Like, I'm living with family members, I'm just getting things together, getting a little job, like, gonna rent out a little room. Like, you know, I'm gonna be a poor ass student for the next little while. But after just going through so much pain and so much emotional turmoil and so much like, what the fuck, you know, suicidality, just like really horrible stuff. And still, like, I'm still going through that. It's not a joke. Like, it's still happening. It's not going to go away. It's made me go, like, I deserve this. I owe this to myself. And so that one day I can have that freedom to travel and do things and be supported, and most of all be independent. I think being independent is something that I really value, and when I'm older I really want to be able to look after myself and support myself. And I'd like to be in a profession where I'm respected as well, because often when you're in crappy jobs, people look down on you. And most of all, I really want to stay out of that corporate world where people are trying to fuck each other over and climb over each other. And, you know, I know this isn't true for all corporations, but a lot of the corporate world, people are just trying to get that raise, get that bonus, get that salary, and they'll do a lot for it. And it can get cliquey, it can get bitchy. I'm sure it can in hospitals too. I'm sure hospitals can get cliquey and bitchy as well. But anyway, that's pretty much it. That's where it's at. That's my update for today. And I will see you in the next video discussing chemistry and just the basic things that I have to overcome. Cheers.